Welcome back to the channel and another edition of the Spurs Chat podcast. You might well have noticed, or the eagle-eyed amongst you, that I am not, in fact, Chris Cowlin. I am Craig Dearman, and Chris has entrusted me to take over his channel this evening because Chris is still in the stadium. We don't know what time he's going to be getting out because they keep the fans in at the San Siro, and I believe all over Italy. So hopefully Chris will be joining us later. But with me tonight to discuss Tottenham's 1-0 loss in the San Siro, we've got three brilliant guests. First of all, we got Ricky Norwood back with us again. Hello, Rick. How are you?
I'm okay, I'm okay. You know what? I just chose to enjoy it tonight a bit. We was back in the Champions League. The luck's not been with us. Injuries in 1 week. I can't believe the amount of injuries and how many people we've lost. It was a bit of backs against the wall. Everything was going back down on the downer again going into this game. So I was up for it. I was like, you know what? Come on, let's just go for it. Let's just see what happens. And you know what? I thought the two young boys in midfield done well. I know it was a 1-0 loss, but I thought there was a lot of spirit and a lot of fight there. And fingers crossed we can get over the line come the second leg. Absolutely.
And we've got two Northern Irish guests with us tonight. We've got Gareth back with us tonight. Hello, Gareth. How are you?
All good, Craig. How are you?
I'm all right. Yeah, getting a bit used to the defeats, but there you go.
I didn't know if I was on the Chris Cowlin's podcast or the Jonathan Ross show, so
it's a late show with Craig Dearman tonight.
It's a late show. That's it. No, look, I'm going to get on it a wee bit, but we didn't perform. I thought the comments were spot on. They come up. I thought Skip and Sarr gave everything that they had. They're lacking a wee bit of quality, but they gave everything. But the blame lies with Conte, and I hate to say it because I really wish I was wrong, but unfortunately, I've been proven right. He's not doing enough for us as a coach. He's persistent with this style of play that's not working. But look, we'll get on it in a wee bit. But look, it's great to have an Irish partner on. If you want to talk about the Six Nations, me and Noel happily talk about the Six Nations.
Let's not talk about egg chasing. Thank you very much. We've got Noel back with us. Hello, Noel. How are you?
Hi, Craig. How are you doing? Yeah. Right. Best of luck in the chair tonight, mate. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Got big shoes to fill, but
I think very big shoes.
I think everybody knows the drill by now and how we're going to approach this. And unfortunately, we're going to be talking about another Tottenham loss tonight. But where do we go with this? Ricky, what's your thoughts on the game overall?
Well, like I said, because of this whole roller coaster, part of me really just wanted to go in there and just back the boys and go into a cup tie with a bit of belief. But you could see a little bit of that was lacking within the boys, especially within those first 10 minutes of the first half. After the goal conceded, though, there was a bit of grit about us. Now, the stats might not back it up, the amount of chances that we created or shots on goal or whatever, but I did feel by the end of the first half, there was just something in me that said we're going to come back in this and we're going to win this. Obviously, we didn't. And the game management from AC Milan in the second half was, it was on point. They slowed down the game. They disrupted the rhythm. They stopped us getting within our stride because Skippy and Sarr in the first half, they were all over. They were doing such a great job. I felt that the little nicks and the little tackles that Skippy was putting in just to deflect the ball or to get us back on the ball. Do you know what I mean? I thought he done really, really well. But AC Milan were very clever in the second half in cutting that down and breaking that up and breaking our rhythm. And it was a bit of a struggle to get back in. I was screaming for subs about 65 to 70 minutes. I was saying, shouting at the TV, saying bring on Richarlison and Danjuma, to be fair. And just, give us a bit more kind of creativity, a bit more guile, a bit more hunger from those two players to kind of go and make an impression on the team and on the manager and on the club and kind of, make something happen for us. I think they came a little bit too late. I was happy Richarlison got on, but I think they came a little bit too late. And you know, we went for it again towards the end. We let go of the shackles, and we went for it again at the end. But it didn't go our way tonight. You know, it was a tough ground. It's a tough away team. They're a good side. Yes, they've been up and down in form themselves, but they're a good side all over. So it was a tough cup game. But all I can say right now is that it ain't over. It ain't over yet. It's only half time, and I'll be the first one with a cliche. Do you know what I mean?
That's right, and 1-0 is not the worst. Before we head on over to Gareth here, some of you may have seen on social media, and a bit of good news. Channel regular Melvin proposed to his girlfriend outside the San Siro today, and she said yes. So massive congratulations to Manuela and Melvin on their engagement today. Bit of good news. I think a 1-1 draw probably would have been good, but
congratulations, man! Congratulations, bro.
It's a win for Melvin. So put a few comments in the chat for Melvin there, because I think he's on his way out of the San Siro now. So massive congrats to them both. Gareth, this was the starting lineup. Obviously, some of these changes were enforced, some of them weren't. We had Romero coming in with Longley, Royale, Sarr, and Skip. What did you make of that lineup tonight? Do you think it was just enforced mainly? But did you have any confidence in that team when that come up?
Well, Craig, before you get on to that, I just want to say that Melvin was talking about a video with his wife the other night. I'm just glad we haven't seen that.
Mind you, we're past the watershed. I'm sure if Melvin wants to send it,
I don't know. No, but congratulations to Melvin. He's a good lad. But look, the team was, as you say, enforced, but predictable. The team that played was the team I expected. Where I'm struggling with is Ricky talked about the changes coming late. Conte never changed the system at all. He just made like subs. And he's persistent with a back five. As the back five working? As a back five, I don't think it is. It's got Perisic playing left wing back. I mean, he's a very, very poor defender. His best abilities are going forward, but the problem we've got is he's so far back defending at times, and then when he goes forward, often at times you find Davis or Langley's actually overlapping him, and they're not comfortable in that position. Like how many times tonight did Langley overhit the ball or Davis overhit the ball? It's really frustrating. I'm just not seeing what Conte's seeing, and he's not getting the best of these players, Craig. And that's the bottom line.
Yeah, as Jack says on the screen here, he said we struggled to score against a very average Milan team. Unacceptable. It did seem we lacked that cutting edge tonight, wasn't it?
Craig, that's the most frustrating thing. I think Milan were there for the taking. Like, I come away from that, yes, we're only 1-0 down. And do you know what? I've got every confidence we maybe can turn it around. But they were so there for the taking. Like, I've never seen us away from home and be that comfortable. Like, you think about the times even the time we went to Dortmund, we were 3-0 up. We were under serious pressure in the first half. Then we got the breakaway goal with Kane in 2019. But, like, they put us under all sorts of pressure. Like, we weren't really under any pressure at all, apart from maybe the first 10 minutes. But we created very little, as you say. We lacked the cutting edge. But help the players out on the pitch. Why not take off one of the defenders and bring Danjuma or Richarlison on and leave Kane and Son and Kulusevski on? Because you know what, it might do something different. I think in the end that the changes actually weakened us. We lost any rhythm that we had. Kulusevski coming off was a big mistake because we lack balance. I mean, look, I've criticised the transfer recruitment at times, and I really feel sorry for Richarlison. He's not a right-sided player. Like he's lost out there. He's a striker. When he plays for Brazil, he plays up as a number 9. Like, so play him up there with Kane. Leave Kulusevski on the right. Play Son on the left. Maybe bring Danjuma on for Kulusevski or Son if you're going to change it. But like, he literally just made changes for changes tonight, and it didn't make any difference. And if anything, it weakened us. Towards the end of the game, we were just literally hoofing the ball forward and hoping something happened. And for a side that's supposed to be, one of the top teams in England, for us to produce that, I mean, I think Milan were shocked, and I'm really, really surprised that Milan didn't maybe go for the kill and try to 1-2 or 3-0.
Yeah. A lot of that, I totally agree with you, mate. Noel, what was your feelings on the game? What's your take on the whole match as a whole?
When I saw the lineup, I thought it looked very weak. I mean, obviously, I think Sarr and Skip did a good job, actually. Sarr particularly showed a lot of energy. Skip a wee bit static. Thought we started well, it was first 5-6 minutes, but the same old story. We're chasing a game after 6-7 minutes. How many cheap goals are we going to give away? I mean, Romero was beaten far too easily for me there. He's a big, strong man. He should be clearing man ball and all. To be beaten like that, and the ricochet in the box. I don't think you can blame Foster on that. After that, I think we did try, but I think the two boys actually summed it up. Ricky was saying we're still in it. It's 1-0. It could easily have been 2, possibly 3. I also agree with Gareth that Conte, I thought a few weeks ago when I was talking to Chris and all, and talking to yourself, and I think last August, I thought Conte was a world beater, a master tactician, but now I'm beginning to have serious doubts whether he has a plan B. And we're in it. We're still there. But can we score 2 goals in London? A big ask. You'd really have to do something different and put some creativity. And I don't see where the creativity is going to come from. I know Holberg is back, and that's a massive plus. I think he was badly missed tonight. That hustling midfielder. Somebody that would get a hold of the ball. And I don't think we realise how good a player he is till he's not there. He's not a silky type of a player. But my God, if I was a player and I saw Holberg beside me, he's the type of player you'd want there. So it's not all lost. But we'd have to have a major rethink. And I'm just thinking, like Porro, like Gareth, I was watching the rugby on Saturday and I didn't see the Leicester fiasco. And I was so disappointed with it. I didn't even look at any newspapers or see match of the day. But I'm just thinking, would Porro possibly in this midfield emergency, could he be a midfield player? He is a very creative, a wing back. Could he slot into midfield? There has to be an answer there. So not too disappointed with 1-0. It's still there, but a lot of work to do and a lot of rethinking. So that's where I am.
Ricky, just before we get into talking about the game itself, the comment on the screen here from Bison, it amazes me the number of excuses we make for a manager that clearly has 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Conte doesn't want to be here and it's starting to show. I've seen a lot of dissent, I suppose, on social media, and it's easy to just look at Twitter and just take a straw poll from a vocal few. But what are your views on Conte? Are you still firmly Conte's the man to take us forward, or are you starting to ask questions about him?
You see, with Conte, when he came in and we changed his whole philosophy, do you know what I mean? And we was, it started to change with Mourinho, really. That we was going to go for a win now manager. We wasn't really going to go for a project manager. I felt at the time that was the wrong thing. I felt that we had to start finding managers in the same vein as Pochettino. So somebody who can deal with that type of transfer policy, and who can bring on the young ones and can play attractive football and stuff like that. At first, I felt that we should have maybe gone for Ten Hag. That's who I was calling for on this channel way back then. But you know what? After the topsy-turvy Mourinho time and us sinking to a new low, I felt there was games where I was just so despondent. It was, I didn't care about the football no more. It was ridiculous. It was hurting my soul, and I was just kind of tired and over it. And when Conte came in, I got sold on this serial winner, a manager in his peak, a manager in his prime. And we have started to change. There has been little bits of change, pretty much since he came in, or just before he came in, even when Paratici came in, I asked for a football man to start making football decisions. Instead of Levy starts to take his hands off the reins a little bit and let somebody who is all about football make those decisions. And those started to happen. Conte's come in, and I've been sold on this win now manager because, like we've done the project. And all of us are screaming for a bit of glory, for a bit of joy. Do you know what I mean? From our team, we know we're the missed opportunity type of team. Every time we get that close, we always just miss out. And I felt that this manager was going to be the guy to take us forward, to take us past that line, and to take us on to that promised land. And I still kind of feel that way. I still feel that he's still dealing with Conte's sides are built on defense, and he's still dealing with not a back three that he would ideally choose. It's not an Inter back three. It's not a Chelsea back three. He's working with what he's got. I kind of agree with Gareth that yes, he could be getting better out of what we got. Absolutely, to inspire some of the players that are there to, better performances. But look at our season as a whole. We've had a topsy-turvy season. We've had so many ins and outs and injuries, and every time we had what did we have? We had like 3 days of a fully fit squad before everything went to pot. Do you know what I mean? So he's had to deal with a lot. Plus the gallbladder operation, he's had to deal with a lot. So I still see the passion in him. When I see that reaction against Fulham, I still see that. When I see him making a phone call to Harry for the 267, I still see that he wants something. He does see something special. When he planted roots for, rest in peace, Ventrone at the club, there was something there. There is something there. And all right, he hasn't signed the contract right now, but I don't know, man. I still think there's something there. And he's had to go through a lot. But of course, he's the one that's risen the bar, guys. You know what I mean? So he's risen the bar. He's risen expectations. So we all expect more from him and the side. I just hope it clicks at some point, because we were playing some dynamite stuff to get us into the Champions League last year. And that was a type of Conte ball that I was looking forward to. It's just we haven't hit those heights and we haven't got into that rhythm at all.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that I do agree with you with personally. I'll still stick with what I said on here a few weeks ago, that personally I think that the squad have been told and the club have been told that Conte is off in the summer, but he's going to be giving 120% till he goes. But I think the squad will know that he's going. But that's just my opinion. But there we go. Well, it will all come out in the wash, as they say. Gareth, coming over to you, talking about the game. Not the best of starts. Again, I think we could all say 7 minutes. Romero, for me, wasn't strong enough in the air. Missed the header, and 2 great saves by Forster, I have to say. But Diaz just nodded home. Another defensive error, though, wasn't it, from our back three?
Craig, how many years have we been saying it? Defensive errors, individual errors. It's the same thing over and over again. But look, we can focus on the errors, but every player can make mistakes. Every look, at the end of the day, coaches can't condone bad mistakes. So I'm not going to blame Conte for the goal, because that's not his. Professional footballers should be defending better than that. But look, just to come back to Ricky, and look, I love Ricky. He's positive. He's fantastic. Yes, look. But
you gotta be though. If I'm not happy, then I'm gonna be crying on this bloody old podcast. You know what I mean? I can't do it.
I wish I shared Ricky's optimism, but Ricky now, Ricky 5-6 weeks ago sounds more deflated than I do now. So look, he's saying he's hoping that we click. It's February, it's mid-February, and we haven't clicked at all. Look, Craig, I think you're spot on. I think there's I don't think the players would have been told that Conte won't be there next year, but I think there's a massive expectation within the group that he won't be there. Because, I mean, why would you leave it this long to sign a contract? If you're going to be here, then sign. There's only 2 reasons why the contract hasn't been signed. 1, he doesn't want to sign, or 2, the club don't want him to sign. So, are we in this position now? One of they are, where it's just about getting to the end of the season, and then the club makes a change. And if that's the case, and we feel it as fans, so I'm sure the players who are there week day in day out, there must be a feeling around the club that he won't be there for one reason or the other, if it's a club or it's him. So, look, does that justify the performances? Look, I honestly tonight I just thought we lacked quality. I don't think we created enough. But you look at the players on the pitch, Sar and Skip, they did a great job. I thought they gave everything that they had, but they don't have that quality of a Bentancur. They open the defense up. Harry, I really feel sorry for Harry at the moment now because he's trying his best, and to me, so we've had Son over the years. We've had Dele Alli, Ericsson, players like that were top level players. Dele now he's not, and Ericsson's probably not either. But Harry looks the only player in the pitch now. He looks like he's out of his own league in a way. Son looks like he's in decline. And Kulusevski, since he got back from the injury, he's not been the same player. I thought he done okay before the World Cup, but since we've come back after Christmas, he's not been the same player. Look, I have every confidence Kulusevski will be a top player for this club. I love Kulusevski, but at the moment he's not firing, and at the moment it just looks like Harry has to do everything. If he's not scoring, he has to set up a goal, and you can see it in his demeanour that he's struggling. And that for me is a bigger worry than who the manager is. Like, if we lose Harry, that's going to be detrimental to this club because he's a world class footballer, and I don't see our players around the club. If Harry, if you give Harry what you want to stay. Even tonight, he tried to make things happen. He tried to win free kicks. He tried passes around the corner. Didn't come off. He didn't have his greatest game, but he's still a player that when he gets the ball, I get that excitement. And I used to have that with Son and don't get that anymore. And that's the big worry, Craig.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, Son hasn't had a good season, has he? It's not just a few weeks now. It seems to be all season. Now, what do you make of the supposedly trusted players like your Sons and Romero's? What did you make of their performance tonight again? Especially Romero getting his card again.
I think there's one thing a lot of people are forgetting: the amount of football that has been played this season. They had a World Cup in between. Tottenham had 11 players at the World Cup. An awful lot of them went an awful long way. Kane had the misfortune of missing the penalty, and the emotion that felt. I think that part of the problem is that most teams, and you're getting very erratic results. Man City are losing, Liverpool are losing, or Chelsea are losing. I think in actual fact that there's an awful lot of teams totally exhausted. And I think it's happening to Tottenham more than once because we don't have the squad depth. We don't have the, even when we bring players in, we haven't got the quality of the player that they're replacing. I think Son looks completely, he's only a shadow of the player that he was Golden Boot winner last season. What has he scored this season? 5 or 6 goals? Maybe not even that.
I think it's eight in all the competitions. But I think 3 came in one game and 2 came in our game. So
no, it's one against Leicester. He scored a hat trick, wasn't it? Yeah.
I think he got 2 against Frankfurt, and I think it's 7. I think it's 7 or 8 goals.
Okay, got a couple against Preston, didn't he?
So I think it's 8 goals. I think 3 against Leicester.
He doesn't look the player. He doesn't look.
I think it's 8 goals.
He doesn't look half the player he was. I actually thought at the start, that Richarlison was a strange signing for Spurs because anybody that has come into Tottenham in the last number of years, to challenge Kane and Son for a place, it has been a graveyard for strikers. Richarlison, as I said, I think it was on the commentary tonight, he's only scored, 2 goals for Tottenham. I think it was against Marseille in the Champions League.
Sorry to cut on, but do you not think that Richarlison, I don't blame him too much. He's been totally sidelined in terms of he's been off the bench. He's been playing out on the right hand side. That's not his game. He's been totally I don't blame him too much. He's not really had a fair crack.
No, absolutely. But he got injured as well after coming back from the World Cup. So his season hasn't got going. But as you said, we're now into February. So when are we going to get going? I just think that there's going back to the Conte situation, I agree with Ricky, and I also agree with Gareth. As Ricky said, being on the phone to Harry after he scored the goal against Manchester City, he showed a passion, for the club. But with some of the comments that he's come out with, strange comments, and I would be amazed that if Conte is the manager next season, I would be totally amazed. I agree. I think he's seeing out the season, whether that's a Spurs decision or his own decision. And the commentary that I saw tonight, it was that he loves Italy, and that's his spiritual home, and I think that Conte will be managing the Italian team next season. So I think I really, and Chris always talks about, world-class manager, and we have to do something and we have to back this world-class manager. And I hope I'm totally wrong. And, I love what he did last season, and, he dragged something out of us, in the last couple of games of the season where we got Champions League, where a few weeks before it didn't even seem likely. The match against Arsenal, was a typical example. Like they were swashbuckling, they were cavalier. I don't see that type of football this season, and that's what disappoints me more than anything. Maybe as Gareth comes back to the tactics of three at the back, has he got the players to play that? You talk about the wing backs. We had three wing backs a couple of weeks ago. Doherty was given away. Spence was sent out on loan, and now suddenly Emerson Royal is number one again. Now, I thought he actually played quite well tonight. I thought he put in a good shift. Perich to me is an experienced player, but he doesn't have any pace. He's technically, technically good, technically gifted. But he's 33 years of age. I think if you want players for that position, you want guys, up and down that wing.
Right, look. CB Perisic, I think he's probably past his best, right? But
that's my point.
He can't defend, and he's no piss. So
that's exactly what I'm saying. Exactly. So a couple of weeks ago we had an embarrassment of riches. You come to a situation with like we spent 20 million on Spence, apparently a club signing, and then they let him go on loan, and they have to spend nearly 40 million on another player, and he's sitting on the bench tonight. So some strange goings on, and I know you'll probably get into, later on about the transfer policy, and I have my own ideas on that, but so I'm not convinced that Conte, what my point is, I'm not convinced Conte will be there next season. I'd be gobsmacked if he is. Yeah,
me too. Well, look, we got to get into the game. We got to talk about the game. So, Rick, highlights of the first half, I suppose. After that goal, I thought personally we bounced back pretty well. I think limited AC Milan. I don't think False had much to do. 13 minutes, good free kick from Son, and Dyer glances ahead of straight at the goalkeeper. I think anywhere else that would have been in. 25, another Son free kick. Kane's header was deflected over. 26 minutes, long range shot from Emerson Royal. As I say, good bounce back from Spurs, Rick, wasn't it really? And then on the 42nd minute, brilliant play, I thought, from Emerson. Look, yes, this is me giving Emerson a bit of credit. I think he was good. Brilliant play on the right. He was actually on the floor, went past somebody, and puts in a reasonable cross to Son, and it went out for a corner. And then finally, the last action of the half, a Son run and shot, followed up by Kane, who hits the bar. He was offside, but to be honest, I didn't think the rest of the first half was that bad. Did you?
No, I loved our response, to tell you the truth. I saw a battling spirit in the boys. I saw them go for it a bit. I saw the two boys in midfield look to cover and control. Like I say, I enjoyed Skippy's performance. He was all over the place, and even if he got a toe in to just stop that player, that AC Milan player running with the ball, or just to put the ball in a different path and hopefully into a Spurs path, he done it, and there was a battling performance. With that battling performance at the end of the first half, I had that feeling that, right, we're coming back to win this. Like, we're going to go in, everyone's going to get riled up in a change room, we're going to come out firing. But that's where the intelligence of a side like AC Milan and where they speak about game management, they're speaking about Tottenham doing more game management. And we have over this season, there has been points in time where someone like Højbjerg has done some game management and gone down and just slowed the game down and taken the pace out of it, or allowed us to get our shape back and then we go again. And that's what AC Milan done tonight. So I can't have too many complaints with that. But I mean, we did. We went through it at the end of that first half, and I really did believe that. All right, cool. We're gonna go on to not only equalise, but to win this. But it was tough, mate. It was tough, and that was the end of the first half.
That was, wasn't it? I mean, it was a funny game as a whole, I thought, to be honest, because there wasn't massive talking points throughout it. I thought it was quite bitty in the first half, but we did limit them, I thought. And I noticed somebody in the comments saying when we're going to give Emerson credit. I think I just did. I thought he was really good again tonight. So credit, as I say, where credit is due. Gareth, coming on to you, what massive downer about the Bentancur injury, of course. And the other players we've lost, Bissouma and Cess and Lloris, gone from, as we said, 8-9 days ago, having a fully fit squad to now disaster. Big talk was about how Skip and Sarr would do in the middle, and I thought they were pretty good. What was your views on their performance overall?
Craig, you keep saying the word limit, and I thought we were limited. We limited Milan to what they were capable of, and we looked limited ourselves, and that's the big worry. That to me tonight, if you watched, I was keeping an eye on the other game, the PSG game, the quality in that game compared to the quality in our game is massive, and that's the biggest issue. Like, even if we do turn around next week against Milan, if we were to draw a powerhouse, they could absolutely take us apart, and that's a massive worry. But look, we'll worry about that if we get past Milan. But you know what? Looking at it, Craig, that was a big, massive opportunity missed. And that's why I'm so disappointed. It's only 1-0. We might turn it around, but a massive opportunity missed. When you come on to the point about injuries, look, Bentancur's a massive must. He would be a massive must for any team. You look at Liverpool this year, the injuries they've had, it's impacted them. Chelsea, the injuries they've had, it's impacted them. But every team should be able to deal with injuries. And when I looked at that Milan team, and I looked at the starting 11, I recognised about 2-3 players. The left back, Hernandez, and the striker, Leao, Giroud. And not because I want Giroud, but just from his past experiences in England, I didn't really look at them and go, we're in for a tough night, even with the players that we had available. Look, Skip and Sarr gave everything that they had. They were, I mean, you couldn't question their work rate and what they give, but they lacked the quality. And I keep repeating it, but can we not get more of these players? These players ain't improving under the coach, and that's the biggest worry. You look at, if anything, they're in regression. You look at Perisic. Perisic started off okay. He looks like he's getting worse. Romero looks like he's regressing, and I'm a big Romero fan. He's not regressing. Yeah. The whole setup of the team's wrong, Craig. I'm so sorry to say it. I really wish it was wrong, but the gaps. Look, we're getting exposed on the counter-attack so much. So we're starting off games defensively, and then when we go a goal down, we're chasing the game, and we're completely all over the place. I mean, for how bad Milan were, they could have won the game 3-0. There's 2 chances in the second half that they had that were literally that close to going on, and we could have been beat 3-0, and it would have been unfair because the game itself could have been a bore draw, But it worries me, Craig. Honestly, the way we're setting up, the way we're trying to get back in the games, it's as if we sit off, and then once we go a goal or 2 down, we just we go gung ho and forget about shit, and we're totally caught out. It's crazy. Like Milan tonight, for how bad they were organised. They didn't give us anything. Yes, we didn't create much, but they didn't give anything cheap away. And that second half, for how bad we were, I mean, they had 2 or 3 chances to kill the game. And do you know what? There's probably every chance we probably come back and win the game because they are a bad side. We're on the same level, but there's every chance we may turn the game around.
No, just coming round to you, just picking up on something Gareth said there about our midfield. Who do you see? Because we're going to say Højbjerg is going to be back, right?
Absolutely.
So who do you see partnering in the middle? And I've said I agree with Gareth on this, that the manager for me, he needs to change the formation sometimes. I'm not saying do it all the time, but he seems quite rigid in his approach, and I think that does limit us a little bit. What's your views on that? And who do you see partnering Højbjerg?
I agree with Garrett as well, but if Højbjerg will walk straight back in, and I would go with Sarr. I was impressed with him. He has an energy and enthusiasm, and that he's got youth. He's inexperienced. He's raw. But more games will give him that experience. And I feel there's a player there. And one man's misfortune is another man's opportunity. And Bentancur's out for 6-7 months, so I would think Højbjerg and Sarr for me. But I do agree with Garrett. One thing he said, I mean, we take off Langley and we put on Davis. I mean, that doesn't make any sense for me whatsoever. I mean, what if it wasn't working with Langley? It's not going to work with Davis. He's not going to add anything to the party. So I would have thought we would have had a bit more. I can't even remember who was on the bench. Probably with
sorry, jump on again, but see the last sort of 10 minutes with them changes, I thought we just became erratic. So many balls just getting pumped forward without any sort of substance. It was crazy. I honestly see towards half time. You speaking about we were doing okay. As the second half went on, I thought we got worse.
I thought
long ball and hope for some deep break, and it was crazy. I just couldn't understand why he made that change. Davis for Langley. It wasn't going to change anything.
That's the one that I couldn't understand. But I thought the referee didn't give Harry Kane any protection in the first half. That blonde centre half, I can't remember his name, was clattering into him all the time. And there was at least 2 yellow cards there. And that's only crumbs. But, like Romero plays on the edge all the time. I mean, I thought there was going to be a VAR check there at one stage, because it was
VAR check every game we have.
And it reminds me of the one he got sent off for a few weeks ago against Man City, or last week against Man City. He's a good player, but he plays on the edge, and the last thing we need is a red card. If we had got a red card there today, God knows what would have happened. Obviously, we'd have had settle for what we had already lost. But my God, there's something seriously. I mean, Romero, World Cup winner, is he showing World Cup form at the moment? I think so. So lots of worries.
Yeah, indeed. Ricky, coming over to you. Just some quotes from Conte after the game. He was asked about the two lads in midfield we were just discussing. He said, "I'm really happy about the performance from Skippy and Pape Matar. Honestly, to play this way in the Champions League and at the San Siro in this atmosphere, normally it's difficult for important players. This type of performance can make me more relaxed for the future. I can consider that we can finish the season with only 3 midfielders, but I know that I can count on these players 100%. It sounds to me like he's not going to change, and he's going to go with those 2 lads that are out there tonight and rotate with Højbjerg.
Yeah, but you know what is really impressive about Skippy and Sarr tonight. All right, it wasn't a world class. It wasn't a worldy performance, but it was a very good one for 2 young boys that have not really been in the side, not really got a run of games or a rhythm of games, and their age and their experience has been kind of undermined as well, by them not starting and by the way that they're referred to by Conte, because they both are young boys, young guys, young men. But they took responsibility tonight. There's one thing when you come in on an FA Cup game, on a rotation game, and you're meant to kind of, show what you're about and try and take your opportunity and try and take your chance and leave an impression on the team so that. But when you take responsibility, we needed them tonight. There was nobody else. Tonight. And we needed them, in the Champions League at the San Siro against AC Milan. I don't care what side AC Milan put out. If they're wearing the red and black stripes, they've got some ability. They won the Serie A last season as well. So yes, they've had an up and down season the last couple of weeks, but there is some good players in that side. Not the greatest, I hear what you're saying, but there are some very good technical players in that side. And I thought Sarr and Skippy done well. they done their chances the world of good, really, because we needed them tonight, and they took responsibility. They didn't shy away from responsibility. Look at Sarr and having a couple of shots as well. You know what I mean? And Skippy breaking up the play and leaving those tackles in there and stuff like that, and being able to be overlapping as well. Like there was a lot that they both done right and they done well with. It could have been an easy collapse. The way that the majority of world football were looking at Tottenham tonight, it could have been an easy collapse to have two young boys in the centre of midfield, playing in a big, massive game. But they stood up. They done well. That's all they can do. And we haven't seen the best of them yet because they're still young prospects. If they do get a couple of games under their belt, if it is Højbjerg and Sarr and Skippy rotating that other midfield role, then surely, we'll get to see better performances from them and we'll get to see what they're about at this young, precious age of theirs.
Yeah, I thought they were both pretty decent, and I agree with you on Skip. I thought he made some really important interceptions. I thought he covered most of the pitch, to be honest with you. Conte's a few more quotes for you. As for the performance, I think it was a battle from start to end. We played against a team with a lot of pressure, and it was a pity to concede a goal after 5 minutes. And I felt that in that situation, we could have done much better. I tend to agree with him on that one. When you play against Milan, you have to pay attention when you attack because they can counter with Leao and a point of reference in Giroud. If you give them space, they can kill you. We are now talking about the first game, and I hope in the second game in our stadium, I know our fans will create an important atmosphere and help push us. I think that's key, Rick, isn't it, really, that, regardless of what the fans think, that it's a cliche, I know, but we've got to be the 12th man, haven't we?
Yes, we have, bro. But when the Spurs fans are called upon, they do react and they do respond. When we had to get over the line last year, they done it. The whole of every single time that I've seen an away game, I've always heard the away supporters somewhere, shape or form in that ground roaring their heads off to try and get our boys over the line. And it's going to be one of those. It's going to be, it's going to be a knockout Champions League game where we're going to need all of that energy, all of that Spurs energy. Do you know what I mean? All of that ferocity, that warlike kind of, I don't know, man, that force that the crowd can bring. And that, when you're playing against that, it's hard, mate. You've seen how well we play when the crowd are going crazy. And it doesn't matter about off the field, you know what I mean? They just care about everything that's happening on the field right here, right now. So I have no doubt that every single Spurs fan that is lucky enough to be in the stadium that night in the second leg against Milan will roar their heads off and will push this team over the line.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk about Conte a bit and his future a bit later if we get time. But there's a quote from him here. I don't want to talk about the future, but as a former Italian national manager, people know how much Italy means to me. It's in my heart. I will never exclude the possible idea that I will be back here one day. So make of that what you will. As I say, personally, I think he's going to be off. But let's continue talking about the game because that's what we're here for. So, Gareth, coming around to you. Romero receives his obligatory yellow card in the 48th minute after a tackle that perhaps in another game could have been a red. 60th minute, free kick for Spurs. Doesn't come to anything, but the keeper gets injured. Clearly injured. He's limping. And then 62 minutes from the resulting corner, the keeper has a clear catch and nobody pressures him when that would have been the ideal time to, in my opinion, let the keeper know you're there, as I used to say when I used to play. Scrappy half the second, really, no momentum. And Gareth, what are your opinions on the subs? Because I think he left it too late again.
Well, look, I spoke about it at the top of the show. He obviously left us too late again. Simone's one of my favourite guests on Chris's show. Simone nailed it one. He said that Conte is not an adaptable manager. He doesn't adapt. He doesn't change. He sticks with his three He's back three. He calls it, to me, it's a back five because we're always in the back foot. It doesn't change. And if there's ever a night they change it, Milan were there for the taking, and he just made like for like subs. And for me, I thought the subs were all wrong. Honestly, I couldn't believe. See, the first sub on top was Richarlison coming on, and I couldn't. Well, I did believe it, but on my own mind, I was thinking, "There's no way he's going to take Kulusevski off. He can do something. He can do a bit of magic. He can create a pass. He could go past a player, and he subs him for Richarlison. They play on the right hand side, which he's done before. And look, it weakens this Richarlison. Richarlison on that right hand side lost. He's not a right hand sided player. I just don't understand how he sees that. I mean, when he played at Everton, he played up top, and if he had to play with Cowlin, he played off the left. He's just not a right hand sided player. He doesn't funk because he's obviously going to come inside. So he's not going to burst past you with piss, and he's not going to come on his left foot. That's just not the way he works. Like, so, I couldn't believe that change. Noel spoke about it. Switching Davis for Langley is like switching salt for pepper. It makes no fucking difference, and that's the honest truth. It honestly doesn't. It's crazy that he did that. And Brennan Danjuma on for, or was it for Son? Was it?
Yeah.
It's in
Danjuma came on for Son. Yeah.
Son. It's in hope rather than expectation. Give the boy a fair chance. So are we going to be sitting here now in 3 or 4 months' time saying that Danjuma's not been a good signing, but is he only going to get 5 minutes here, 6 minutes here, 7 minutes here? Give the boy a chance. Just give them subs no chance tonight, and that's so frustrating. I spoke about it before. With Spence, I'm really unhappy with Spence's treatment because I coach football myself, and they see a player treated like that. It's not right. There's talent in the boy. I understand Conte's not happy that the club have went out and, probably went over his head in terms of we want Spence as a project, in terms of he could be here for the next 7 years or 3 or 4 years, and we sell him for big money. So, look, everything's wrong. Going back to what Ricky said, again, it's hope, expectation. He's on about Skip and Sarr. I thought they did really, really well. Performances were excellent from the two of them, but they say that they won Oscar. I wouldn't say they won the Oscar that you won these dinners, but they don't anyway. I wouldn't be going that far. They say they were that good, but look.
But they done well in the circumstances, don't you think?
No, do you know what, Ricky? They were through in the game that they weren't ready for. They did what they could, and they're probably 2 of our best performers, hands down. And getting back to the Romero point, I love Romero's aggression. See the red card against Man City it all came off because of a bad pass. I think it was from Davis that played it backwards, and if Grealish had dribbled through and scored, we'd have been absolutely hammering Romero for not bringing him down. Normally, he has a yellow card, man, and he usually watches himself after that. So look, Romero's not a big concern for me in terms of his bookings. He loves the tackle. If you look at the Man City game, after he smashed Haaland didn't want to know against him. So he plays on the edge, but Romero's the least of our problems. I love the aggression. I love the way he flies on the tackles. Yes, sometimes you have to be a wee bit reserved, but top player, and they only get better. But Craig, unfortunately, I have to come back to it again. The manager should be the main talking point of this podcast.
Yeah, well, we'll come on to Conte after we've finished the game, Gareth. Don't worry about that. Noel, coming round to you, as Dan puts on screen here, do you think the players feel trapped in Conte's tactics and formation? And leading on from what he said pre-game, and I'll just read it to you. Pressure all of the time is good for some players and bad for others. Sometimes players feel motivated, other times feel so much under pressure they can't perform. Maybe for a period they have a good performance and then they collapse all of a sudden if they feel too much pressure. We are working on this to make players more resilient. What do you agree with what he said there? Do you think the players feel under too much pressure, or is it the fact that Conte just won't change and the players don't like it and they feel, as Dan said, they're trapped in what this system that they perhaps don't like to play?
I think it looks like that. I don't particularly understand the statement like that, because players are players. You set them out to do a job, and it doesn't mean that you have to stick rigidly to the plan. People can be individualistic and and do their own thing. But I think you're right. I think he obviously something, but not particularly right with the system. Yeah, and like Gareth said, he's very, very stubborn. He doesn't want to go back to work. I personally would like to see a 4-3-3 system. Go back to the basic 4-4-2. But I don't really know. I think, is it possible, that is he starting to lose the dressing room? I don't know. I think there's something drastically wrong somewhere. I used to be amazed at Pochettino Spurs, in the couple of years, when they played to 90 minutes, the amount of goals they scored, in injury time, it was reminiscent of what Man United used to do. Yeah, obviously it tailed off at the end and it all ended badly. But like Spurs, we're always chasing games. I mean, was there 7 or 8 games in a row where we conceded a goal and we were expected to perform a miracle every week and come back and either draw the game or win the game? So I
Sorry,
think,
no, just to jump on again, right? People have been absolutely hammering the whole thing of Conte needs world-class defenders and needs this, right? I was going through the stats today. Seeing 16-17 was the year we finished second to Chelsea. We only conceded 26 goals, and we were not a defensive team. We conceded 35 Premier League goals already, and we're only in February. So we conceded 9 goals.
I think we had a better defence then, don't you, Gareth?
Well,
I agree, but we're not a defensive football team. Any team. I think we won 17 games at home and draw the other 2. We absolutely hammer teams at home. So attack is your best form of defence, and that's my point. And getting back to Craig, you made a point there about I haven't seen Conte's comments, but you were saying about going into the rest of the season with only 3 defenders, or 3 midfielders. To me, that feels like an hour jab to the board. He feels he's been undersold. If he's come out and said I've only got 3 more midfielders this season, I kind of feel like he thinks again it's on the board, not him.
Yeah. And no, if you want to take this one on screen from Ollie, defensively we're not good enough to play his system, constantly giving the opposition the majority of possession in our half. He's adding pressure. Our strength is going forward. It's basically what we were discussing there, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, we're not even doing that very well at the moment. We're supposed to have this world-class forward line, and what did we create today? Very, very little. Did we? A couple of shots from Sarr, a free kick, a couple of corners, that we dropped into the keeper's hands. So at the minute, we're not even that good at going forward, because we haven't. And I don't see many players in the Spurs team playing with a smile on their face. It looks very dull, lethargic. I don't know if you noticed that. I just think there's something not right and something missing. So a lot of work.
You're 100% spot on. I look at them players and I think it's the exact same as it was under Mourinho. They don't look happy at all.
Yeah, that's the feeling I get. If a guy's enjoying his game and you're at the top of your game, you play with a smile on your face. Even Kulusevski, you're a fantastic player. And then there was a shot today, and the camera went to the subs bench, and you had Kulusevski and Son, 2 potential players that could win you a game. I know Son's not playing that well, but my God, don't sub him in a game that you need a goal.
I'd love to hear the conversation. I guarantee I have an inkle on how the conversation went, but the way he put his hand over his fist, I guarantee what they were saying to each other was, how are we not on this football pitch trying to win this game for Spurs?
That's my point. You're bringing on Davis and you're taking off, I would take off a defender and go for it. I know it's a different situation because it's a European match and it's not like a league. When it's over, it's over. So you have to be a bit cautious. But, to see those 2 guys sitting on the bench and we needed a goal, I thought, no, this is not right.
Yeah. Ricky, coming round to you, just finishing up on the game. 70 minutes, as we've discussed, Richarlison came on for Kulusevski. 78 minutes, free header from AC Milan goes wide, and then a minute later, another free header goes wide. I mean, this could have been 3-0, as the lads have said before. I mean, we got lucky, didn't we, there? 81st and 82nd minute, Danjuma comes on for Son. Davies comes on for Lenglet. Don't quite understand that one unless you took a knock personally. 82nd minute, Sarr's shot goes wide. A minute later, Dyer has a free header from a corner. Just heads it into the floor. An 84th minute, Davies shoots over into the top tier. There was just no cutting edge on the night, was there? It was, I know 1-0 is not a disaster, but we just didn't look like scoring really for me.
No, especially in that second half, Craig. But, you know, we've been going through these periods, especially this season. And maybe we go into a zone of almost feeling sorry for ourselves, and now I don't want to make a mistake, and now I don't want to go to, you know, and risk something. But I think the boys have been in a tough position this whole season, you know, and they just haven't, every time they get their head above water, something like the Leicester game happens, and it just sends, you know, all that good work that they've done a couple of weeks before. You know, we had I can't remember how many clean sheets. Yeah, and and then we ended up beating Man City as well, which was the one that everyone was kind of like, oh, after the 4-2. So, and then you kind of get a performance like Leicester, and it really does rubbish the whole, everything that you've tried to move forward with. We've also, you know, lost our captain in the space of a couple of days, lost somebody very influential in the midfield, lost a couple of subs there. So even if we wanted to change it up, which Conte has been doing, he has been bringing on Sessegnon late for Perisic, or he has been trying to play Perisic as the quicker wing back. Like for instance,
Ricky, sorry to jump on, but these type of performances were happening when Lloris and Bentancur were available. So it's more than them. Like there's a bigger problem.
Yeah, and I think that the way we play our best football under Conte is, again, it's almost like a high line. You know, Gareth, as a coach, there's two phases of football. There's the offensive and the defensive. And when you've got the ball and you're offensive, everybody will know their positions, and you'll start to do certain things to try and create patterns and to try and create, you know. But if you're on the defensive end, you've also got defensive positions. And if the opposition always has the ball or are always on the attack, then we're always in defensive positions. And that's where Gareth says that we go to a back five instead of a back three.
The word you're looking for is transition, right? So transition is massive in football, right? So see you on Saturday against Leicester. We were as poor as I've ever seen us in transition. We were totally exposed when we lost the ball, and we give absolutely nothing when we had the ball. And that's a massive problem. And look, that can come to any players and I agree, and lack of quality. But the way the team's performing as a whole, for me, is well below the level expected of a team that's sitting fifth in the Premier League. And that's my victory. Like, I think, honestly, Ricky, I think our position's false. Do I think we're the fifth best team in the Premier League? Nowhere near it.
But it was only the week before that we played Man City that a lot of the panel and a lot of the people were saying that was the best performance from Tottenham for a 90-minute performance. And that was only the week previous. So to have a demonstrative collapse like that against Leicester, that must do something for the psyche of the players. And that's what I'm saying about all the good work that they did build up until that point.
But we beat Man City before under previous poor managers that not worked out. So do you not just think that was we were at our game, Man City were off it? Because look, I'd love to sit here and say we absolutely bossed Man City. We had a great day, and we put a team that was better than us on their place. But like, the evidence tells you that that's been happening over the last few years.
It has. It's a trait.
It was just a flash in the pan, and we were on our game that day, and we didn't build on it. Like, I mean, beating Man City is great, but if you don't beat Leicester and you lose with AC Milan after, it doesn't really mean much to me. Like,
you know, for me, I think that we as a team, Tottenham as a team, the best way that we attacked was the Pochettino attack, which was the 4-2-3-1. You know, it gave us great defensive cover, but as well as it gave us even more attacking options. And like you said there about the stat about only conceding 23 or 25 goals in the season,
26 goals.
Yeah, to concede 26 goals. Of course, we had Super Yan and Big Toby at the back, right, who were telepathic in themselves, right? So we had a good defense, but our defense was created by a high press and a high attack rate, and going at teams and going for the jugular and not stopping until the very, very last second of extra time, and that's where we saw the best football, the best attack, the most amount of goals, and a free flowing Tottenham side. It just hasn't been that, and I'm trying to get back to loving my team again, which is tough because we've been Titanic FC.
We all want the same thing, and then getting back to Noel's point, which is really, really valid. See them players at that time, they were smiling, they were loving their football. Do you see that same passion? Do you see that same lovely character of players on the pitch anymore? You don't.
No. I think for me as well, I don't feel as connected with the club as I did. I know we talk about Poch a lot on this channel, but that time under Poch, 16, 17, 18, 19, even with Champions League.
Could even go back to Harry Redknapp days, Martin.
Harry Redknapp, yeah, absolutely.
So it's not about providing success and being second, third. Of course, we want to win trophies. We want to be the best team. But like even having that sort of connection with the club, that's been missing since Poch has left.
Yeah, it has, and the players don't seem as together. I know we see all the nice videos online. I don't want to make this like a depressing chat, obviously, but obviously we've just lost again and we've put in a bad performance. So it's not all happy, is it? But Noel, just coming to you on one of those players we were talking about, Son, and his performances lately we were discussing earlier. How do you think Richarlison's going to be feeling now? Son again didn't have a brilliant game, but how would Richarlison be feeling now, when, especially after the game, but certainly before? Do you think he should have been given a chance and Son dropped tonight?
It's a possibility. I think he's probably thinking to himself, what do I have to do? The team, he didn't get any action against Man City at all. I can possibly understand that. I don't know, did he come on against Leicester?
Can't remember. Did Richarlison come on? I didn't see the game, so
no,
I don't think he did he?
I went home with a sulk when I heard the result.
I tapped out, mate. I tapped out.
I didn't watch that match on the day either.
No, nor did I. I didn't either.
I know. I was watching the rugby, and once I actually started looking at the result, it was 1-0. Then we were 2-1, and by the time I got home, it was 4-1. So I just but I think he's probably thinking to himself, what the hell is going on here? I arrived here as a £60 million player. I realized, that I wasn't going to get into the team right away. And he started off okay. He got a couple of goals in the Champions League, but after the World Cup, scored a wonder goal in the World Cup, comes back injured, and then the team starts to do badly, and then he hasn't got back in again. So I wouldn't be surprised if he is shifted on.
He's had one Premier League start, one against Leicester. That's all he's had.
The problem with Richarlison is, and you said it earlier, Gareth, Richarlison is an out-and-out number 9. Would it be a possibility that he should play number 9 and Harry Kane slightly behind him? I think that's.
Why not try it? Like, let's have a. We're not doing anything now, so let's have a go at it. Let's try it.
Yeah, I think that's the only way you would incorporate him into the team. I think as Gareth said, him coming on as a right winger or a left winger, he's not a winger. He doesn't have ball control, and then he goes and does something stupid like falls over and tries to buy a penalty and that type of stuff, which is obviously it's like a dying swan. It looks terrible, but you're probably right. He deserves a chance, and he's not getting it. So I think he is a man that's not willing to change he doesn't change very willingly. But I also think that anybody that has come in to challenge Harry Kane as the number 1 striker in that number 1 position at Spurs, it has been a total graveyard for them. There's nobody being able to do it.
I agree, and it is, but you have to find a way of making it work.
And
You have to try an our striker with him, like play with Richarlison. Like, I don't play him every game, and we've seen the Kane drops off anyway. So like you can try different things, but when the team's not playing well, and like let's be honest, we haven't played well the whole season. Like you can count on one hand how many games we've walked away this season and went, that was good. Man City won. I'm struggling today. I think Fulham at home we were very good.
The first game, Southampton.
Yeah.
So you're really struggling to name games where we've played well and then walked away and went, that could be a top team, or that team could go on and do things this year. And that's a massive worry. That we're sitting here in middle of February with 15 games left in the Premier League. You know, it's absolutely crazy, Craig. And they pushed us. I know we have to get to the end of the season, and honestly, as much as I'm against Conte, and I don't think he's the future for this club, look, you have to let it go on in the season now anyway, because you know what, he could end up fluking something, and it would be, to me, would be a massive fluke, because based on performances I've seen, we're not a team's going to win anything this year. Or like you look at Newcastle, right? They haven't got the players we do. Let's be honest, they haven't. Would you agree?
No, we've got the better squad, haven't we? But they're playing better football.
They're organised. They've got a style of play. They know what they're good at, you know. And if they can't win a game, they'll make sure they don't lose one. And look, Conte's pride has been absolutely his A game is look. He's a defensive coach, and he'll not make sure. But we're conceding goals left, right, and centre. I think we've conceded more goals this season than we have under any previous manager in the last 4 or 5. At this stage of any season. So, like, it's not as if we're any better in defence anyway. So, I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, it's certainly a lot worse, isn't it? The number of goals conceded. Just a quick question for you all before we wrap this part of the show up and perhaps talk about Conte's future and what you all think of it, although we've touched on it already, obviously. Rick, obviously the return leg is in 3 weeks at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and it's only 1-0, as we've said. Can we turn this around? What does it take for us to turn this around? And if we do turn it around and go through, how far can we go in this competition realistically?
You know, with Tottenham, we never do anything the easy way. It's always the hard way. So even at the depth, when there's no more light in the room, Tottenham will do something at that point and just surprise you. They'll just bring you back. When you've given up on Tottenham and when you don't want to watch and you don't want to listen no more and you've had enough and you take your Saturday back, that's the day they have a stormer. Do you know what I mean? So, of course, Tottenham are like that. You know, Lee McQueen calls it the crazy train, and it really is. It is a crazy train. I don't know how people don't have heart arrhythmias or palpitations. Or, you know, I know why I've got my grey hair. It's because of bloody well Tottenham. I know that much because they put you through the ringer every single time. And, you know, we could all be philosophers right now and all say the right thing or the wrong thing and pick out the little nitty gritty. But it just takes one shift, one piece of energy that just opens everything up again. And that's why I think psychologically the lesser defeat was massive. Because we just started to get over a hump, you know. We was on the back of a bad news 2 weeks. Do you know what I mean? Paratici was going to jail. You know, Levy, Kane was leaving, and Conte hasn't signed anything. Too many excuses, Ricky. Far too many excuses. But there was a lot of things that were happening, right? And it was doom and gloom, and then we started to pick ourselves back up. And then we hit that Leicester defeat, and I think that I think it psychologically damaged a lot of them. Do you know what I mean? But they did come out, and they could turn it on, mate. And of course, they could go through. Of course, you just never know. It just takes one gust of wind of energy, mate, and things could shift.
You know what?
Look at Emerson, Gareth. Gareth, look at Emerson Royal, right? We was every single person wanted him out of the club. We'd given up on him. Craig. Tell me about it, bruv. Did we not? Everybody, it was a debate every single week. Emerson Royal.
I never gave up. I never gave up on him.
Don't you do it. Don't you do it. But you know what? A bit of competition and a bit of threat, and he came out with a great performance against Fulham, and then he was man of the arguably man of the match against Man City. So what I'm saying is that things can change with Tottenham on the flick of a coin, bruv.
Look, I think with Emerson anyway, Emerson's always been a good defender. I don't think it's going forward is his issue. Like, I don't think he's ever let us down too many times defensively. I think he's actually a really, really good right back, and he's not a wing back like he is, or he's a decent right back in terms of defending. But look, hey, Craig, I'm going to the second leg at home. My first home game this season. I've been to a few away games, but it's my first home game. So hopefully we can turn it around. Do you know what?
Well,
we've got every chance of doing it.
Well, as I said there, we need to score 3, I think. So yeah, I'll agree with that.
But look, hey, Milan are not a good side. So look, if we get the first goal in that game, you'd probably fancy us to turn it around. But look, the bigger issue is we have to improve going forward. Or do you know what? It's a waste of time. It's no good bit Milan. They draw on our team and get absolutely smashed. So we have to improve. Will we improve? Yeah. The evidence suggests that we're going to see the same. They may. So, look, I'd love to sit here and be positive like Ricky has been all season, but Ricky's been the same since August. I'm going to hedge my bets on. It's going to be miserable. It's going to be miserable in the season. But look, hopefully, I really want to be proved wrong. Getting back to the point of Conte, look, we spoke about him enough. I actually really, really like Conte. You know what? Good. He seems like a good person. He's been through a lot. I'm going to make an excuse now because Ricky loves these excuses in terms of stuff happening. But he's had a lot of stuff going on in the background in terms of close friends, family. He's living on his own in a hotel. That can't be easy. But look, my point to that is, I'm a Spurs fan. I'm not an Antonio Conte fan. Yes, if he's doing great things for our club, I'm fully behind him. But if his head's not in the right place and someone out there better that can lead us forward, then I'm all for it.
Well, Poch was in town having dinner with Steve Hitchens, so he might be getting the band back together. You never know. Noel,
I've seen that.
Noel, what do you? Can we go through? Can we go through? Can we score?
Of course we can. You know, I've always been a glass half full person, and Ricky is right. Like Tottenham, life out of you. I mean, a few years ago, against Ajax, you know, who would ever forget, you know, Lucas Moura and what he did. And there was another player we could have put on tonight. You know, he could have grabbed a goal tonight, you know. But of course we can. You know, it's only 1-0. Anything can happen. We get a goal early on and go for it. And one of those special nights that White Hart did, I think it's very much on. But, you know, there needs to be, you know, in the interim period, there needs to be an improvement in the next few games. I think it's West Ham next, is it?
It's West Ham, yep.
Yeah, and that's the way, is it?
No, we're home on Sunday, half four on Sunday.
All right, okay. All right, so yeah, of course we can do it, yeah, 100%.
Sorry, Craig, before you go, look, I've had so many messages over the last few years. So many people slipped me for some of the comments I've made, but look, it's actually turned around, and so many people have been texting me, commenting on the videos, and saying like how much they fucking appreciate me. And so I have to say, for all Chris Cowlin's fans, these are absolutely brilliant. And tuning on to every show, Craig stepped in the night. Craig's been absolutely brilliant as well. So look, thanks very much.
Thank you. Well, I'm not quite letting you go yet because we got to talk a couple more bits. So,
sorry, I thought we were going. Sorry.
Oh no, I'm not letting you go. We've still got to talk a bit more about Tottenham. Sorry. Unless you got to go.
He wanted another night.
I'll have to get another beer.
His beer's running a bit low. You go and get another beer, Gareth, and we'll come out to Rick. So, Rick, we've got West Ham next.
Yes.
So obviously we're going to have Højbjerg back, but you know West Ham results of late, they haven't been as bad lately. Been picking up a few points. Big game in it against West Ham. It always is. It's not as big for us as it is for them, obviously, but it's a game we've got to bounce back. We've got to bounce back from this result and put in a good performance, haven't we, against West Ham. They're there for the
Yeah,
taking, aren't
but it's a great game to go into. I think it's a perfect game to wake everybody up again and shake everybody up again. When you've got to fight for something, when you've got to battle for something, that's when you should see the best of those that are in your squad, and this is their moment. This is their moment. Now, whether that means changes within the 11, whether that means switching it up a little bit, Conte has played a 3-5-2 before, and that could possibly happen with Harry Kane's going into the attacking midfield role and sticking Sonny and Richarlison up front. Maybe there is something else that can be done with this three at the back, so it doesn't have to stay as rigid. It's just whether he does it or not. We do have options right now, and it's about using them. All right, cool. Bentancur's out for the season, and that's a massive blow. He's the tempo. He is the metronome of our side. But it's time for the rest of these boys to step up. And, a perfect game to do it in. It's going to be a battle. Doesn't really matter about form. Form always goes out the window in these type of games. So it's all about who wants it more and who does it mean more to. And if we come out fighting, and if we come out with a bit of pride on our chest and go for it, then of course we could go at it and beat the Hammers. But Antonio loves a goal against Tottenham. He loves it. And West Ham, they always go for it against Tottenham. So it's going to be a massive battle of a game. But what a great game to kind of send the boys into and get them to wake up and fix up. So, come on, you Spurs.
Excellent. Gareth, what do you think about the West Ham game Sunday? We gonna get a result there, or they gonna give us a typical battle? Let's hope not to be 3-0 up again and for them to come back. I'm still having nightmares about that.
I'll tell you, West Ham's always one of them games. I was actually at the away game. We went 1-0 up, and we absolutely just let them come on this. Make no mistake about it. West Ham could be sitting with 0 points this year, right? They could be sitting minus points, and they will be up for it on Sunday. They will be right up for this game. There's no doubt about it, right? So we're going to have to be at our best. And I mean, if we turn up there 50%, we're getting beat. So West Ham, for them, is their cup final. Spurs is their cup final. Same way Chelsea it is. And hey, people will always say that Spurs is an offering club and do this. But look, Arsenal's biggest game is Spurs, Chelsea's biggest game is Spurs, and West Ham's biggest game is definitely Spurs. So because Millwall's not in the league, so it's gonna be tough. West Ham could be coming in this game. They could own their last 6 games, and I'd still be saying, even though they're not in a good place, it's gonna be a tough game. Always is. Look, I think Spurs are favourites. I think if we turn up, we'll probably win. But if we turn up like we have been in the last few weeks, bar Man City, even the Fulham game, look, Fulham was scrappy. Kane scored a great goal. Or not, there was nothing in the game. We have to play like we did against Man City, and that means every player 100% at it. And if we're not at it, we'll get beat, because you could argue West Ham's I've got a better midfield than us. They definitely do now coming this weekend. I mean, you would take on Rice as a superstar. Would absolutely love him to be at Spurs. I think that's the type of player we should be going for, to be honest with you. It's not a transfer show, but I think he would be an absolute revelation for Spurs. But Paqueta's a good player. Antonio always seems to turn up against Spurs. Look, it's gonna be tough. I wouldn't be counting your chickens. I'm thinking this is 3 points. Forget about the league table. It'll be a hard game, but I think we might nick it 2-1. And honestly, some of the people were saying in the comments here, Gareth, what do you think of the AC Milan game? Look, I'm going to the game, so look, I think it's going to be tight. AC Milan, I think we might get through, but it'll be 50-50. I definitely think we'll win on the night, but it'll be tight.
Could go to penalties, couldn't it? Who knows? Noel, what do you think about West Ham? Do you think he's going to make changes? Do you think Porro's going to come back in and be given a start?
I don't think he will, actually. I think he'll stay with Royal. I think Royal did very well last couple of games. He was dropped against Leicester, and I thought he did well tonight. So I don't see any reason why he wouldn't play Royal. I think West Ham was great, as the boys say. It's always the toughest game. As you say, with nightmares about the 3-0 a couple of years ago, and the last goal. I think if it had been for another minute, it would probably be 4-3. West Ham always seemed up their game, as the guys say. But if ever we need a response, it's now, and this game will test the character of the Tottenham team. They need to. There's no question about it. West Ham need points. Spurs need points for a different reason. If we start, losing games now, and drifting away from Newcastle, we're with no chance of making top four. So we need, this is a game, stand up, be counted, and this is a game where I don't think we can afford to lose, and I don't think we will. I go 2-0.
Great. So you've gone 2-0. Gareth's gone 2-1. Rick, I don't think you give me your prediction for the game. What do you think?
2-1 Tottenham. 2-1 Tottenham.
2-1.
Copycat.
I was going to go 2-1 Tottenham before you said.
I never bet on Spurs if somebody scored against them, but they always do. But I'm not a betting man, but I wouldn't put a bet on somebody scoring. So 2-0.
To be honest, though, lads, I think we have to put somebody on Rice. So Rice could cause us problems. That could be a big thing, though.
Well, yeah,
He could.
Hulberg will be back. Hulberg will be back.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 3-1 Tottenham, right?
3-1
because I don't want to say the same as everybody. So I'm going to go.
Same
3-1
as last
Tottenham.
season, Craig. Same as last season.
Same
Sonny
as last season.
get one.
I'm going to go 3-2 Tottenham now, just to not copy Gareth, mate. That's what I'm saying.
But as they're going to go 2-0 up, and then we're going to come back and win it in the last minute, Rick. That'd be different, wouldn't it? That'd be good.
Don't do it.
You remember the game in 2007?
Can I ask a question?
Terry scored a goal in the last minute.
Stop Terry.
That was my favourite West Ham Spurs game.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask.
Go on then, Gareth.
Right. So, do you think we'll finish top four this year?
I was going to ask that. I had that written. Yeah. I'll cover that one. I still think we will. I do. I think we'll sneak it. I think we'll sneak it.
No.
Marginally. Yeah.
Ricky.
I have to say,
you know my answer, mate. So I don't even know why you're asking me, sunshine.
You know what? I actually think we might do as well, right? And that's a big thing for me, right? So, say if we finish top four, do you think giving Conte a contract could harm us or take us forward?
I don't think he's staying anyway.
No, I don't. Regardless, we could win the Premier League. I don't think he'd stay.
Nah, well, I think that's a different question. But I think that's the problem. I think if we get top four, I don't think it's because we're good. I think it's because our teams have suffered in terms of Liverpool been bad, Chelsea fallen off a cliff. We're only up against Newcastle.
Didn't he come out with a statement, Craig, that he misses Italy, that he wants to go back?
Nah, I think he's gone. I think he's gone. And do you know what, though? I think it's better in terms of, see if we're taking football out of it, see for his own mental and personal health. I think he has to go back to Italy.
Yeah,
if he goes, Rick, what do you think? If he goes, the next manager we get in, personally, I would take Poch back. I know there's a bit of resistance from some fans, but I'd have him back tomorrow. The next manager, regardless, let's say it's not Poch, surely, has it got to be, and as Chris has said many times, you've gone from Pochettino, Jose Mourinho to Conte, let's forget Nuno. But we've surely got to get in a Poch type manager. I mean, somebody who plays front foot attacking football. That Daniel Levy came out a couple of years ago and said, this is what we're about. Surely the fans want that back because I miss it. I mean, I'll take playing the way we play if we're winning. But
Craig, you want to get off the edge of your seat again? When's the last time you were jumping on the butt to get on something?
But do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean, Rick? It does kind of baffle me that we kind of abandoned what Poch built. The way of playing, the fact that he was there, and he saw every single level of football at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club to make sure they were playing the same way so that they could come through and play that way once they got into the first team. I don't understand how teams like Brighton, who will continue to go for forward football, front-footed football type managers, and we totally abandoned that. We went with Mourinho. You say forget Nuno, but Nuno again, he was coming in as a back three operator, and he didn't play the back three. Do you know what I mean? So in the same vein, and then we've gone in for Conte.
So, look, man, in my heart of hearts, like I said, the best football that we've played and the most excited I've been and the most convinced I've been that we can beat anybody and be in any game is that 4-2-3-1 that Pochettino played, and the way that we played it with the high press and the relentless attacking and, you know, the creative player in the middle as well. Eriksen finding pockets of space left, right, and centre. So that's my favourite type of football. So if we was going to change manager, if and when we're going to change manager, that I would love to. Of course, I would love to go back to that. And you know, Pochettino for me, always is had my heart for a long time, bro. It was hard to get over him. So you know, if he comes back to finish off the job that he started, then for me, I'd be over the bloody well moon, and I'd be saying we're back again, you know. So, you know, yeah. But right now we've got Conte, and right now we haven't seen the end of the season yet, and we don't know what type of Tottenham's going to turn up next week. So let's see.
Absolutely, and Gareth, obviously, I know what your feelings are on Conte, but we've got to be 100% behind him, haven't we? Regardless, because we don't know what's going on. We don't know what's going to happen, and I personally still think we've got a cracking chance of winning the FA Cup, but we've got to improve on consistency, haven't we?
Craig, I've always said, look, my feelings on Conte are long term. Short term, look, there's no point. Unless fans go seriously wrong. Look, I'm behind Conte at the end of the season, 100%. 100%, I am behind him. I love him in a way in terms of like, I love his passion and I love his, you know, he'll not, if he thinks something, he'll say it. You know, I love that. But you have to have substance behind it in terms of like he'll blame the board a lot for stuff. But he's had a lot more money to spend, Craig, than previous managers have had. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Well,
definitely.
It has to start proving. I mean, and as I said to Chris on the last show, say this runs on the end of the season and we were to finish with nothing in terms of no trophies and finish 5th or 6th. To me, that would be a massive, massive failure because see if I was making my predictions at the start of the season, I had us 3rd, 4th minimum, and a trophy was a bonus. So I expect us to be top 4. So he has to deliver on that as well. So, but look, for me, look, Craig, I think one of my first shows with you was like Mourinho was sacked, and I said, "Do you have like Graham Potter?" And I was laughed at. People were saying Harry Potter. And look, I know it's not going well for Chelsea. And I know it's not going well for Chelsea at the minute. And I really hope it continues for Chelsea. But I really think we need, and one of the comments come up there was saying about a project manager. I think we're back in that situation again, unfortunately, where we do need a good manager to come on. Somebody that can improve players, spot a player, work with a recruitment team, and build from the back again, because you look at our best players, Kane, Son, they're 29, 30, like, so we're going to have to start rebuild anyway. So look, I really want to see next year a top manager come on that can improve players. And I honestly, it might not be pretty every week in terms of we might lose games, but if we're performing as a team on the pitch and creating chances, then I'll be happy.
Absolutely, and now, you know, as Greg says here, something magic can still happen with this squad this season. Remember our last run to the Champions League final, and Lucas hasn't had a run off the bench yet. He is spot on looking at this with rose-tinted spectacles, perhaps, but you know, we can still do it, can't we? The season's not over. We're still not in a bad position in the league, and we're in 2 cups, so why can't we?
There's 15 league games to play for. There's a lot of football. And there's going to be a lot of, you know, crazy results. You know, teams are going to be taking points of each other. So it's not all lost. We can get top 4, definitely. And I think actually, you know, tonight was not a disaster, but disappointing. You know, we obviously wanted to not lose that game, but obviously it's gone now. So we can still turn that around. I think there's an awful lot to play for. And, you know, if he can get, you know, some sort of, you know, a better shape into the team and start, you know, maybe giving players a chance that haven't been given a chance, like Richarlison. You know, Gareth made a great point that he's only started 1 league game this season. You know, £60 million player that's not even getting a look in. Something seriously wrong there. And yeah, I think still a lot of positivity. But if talking about, I would love to see. I mean, I'd love to see back. It would be incredible if we beat West Ham, maybe, and David Moyes gets sacked. Maybe they might offer him the job. But you know, nobody has. He's still living in London. He still has a good relationship with Tottenham, with Levy. You know, with that Argentinian Ozzy Ardiles connection. It wouldn't surprise me. But another guy that I always sort of thought would have been a good Spurs manager, and he's doing a good job again at the moment, is myself and Garrett's fellow countryman, is Brendan Rodgers. I
said Rodgers before, and people went at me for it, but I actually like Rodgers as well.
Yeah,
but
I think he's, you know,
it's taking me eye.
Yeah.
Debray at Brighton, he plays the exact same way.
Yeah.
That I love to see football plays. Now I know you're banking on a couple of months there, so maybe not. But the way Brighton are playing at the moment, I love to see that kind of football Spurs. And you could argue that Brighton don't have the same players Spurs do.
Absolutely.
And that's it. You know, as you said before, Newcastle, you would say they haven't got as much quality as Spurs, but they seem to be getting it done, don't they? But you know,
look, Craig, Newcastle are being organised, and they're not scoring a lot of goals. To be fair, they're not the best they watch in terms of scoring goals and creating chances. But as with Noel said there about player or managers and stuff, but you look at Brighton you look at the Zerbe at Brighton, they are playing some stuff with a minimal budget. So why can't we play the same stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look. Thank you very much, you three, for coming on. It doesn't look like Chris is going to be able to join us, so he's probably still in the stadium. But we've done an hour and a half talking about another Spurs loss. So thanks to all three of you for coming on, and thanks for everybody who's watched. And
Sorry, you were fantastic.
Thank you
well
very
done,
much,
Craig. Well done, mate.
Thank you.
Absolutely amazing.
Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. Before we go, Rick, I'm sure everybody knows, but where can people find you on social media?
You guys know already. On Twitter, it's at Ricky J Norwood. On Instagram, it's official Ricky Norwood. And Craig, again, well done tonight, bruv. You took the range. You was fantastic. Chris will be proud. And I've got to say a big thank you to my girlfriend and all of our partners that have, haven't minded us being not only watching football, but participating in another 90 minutes plus of football talk. So,
yes, indeed.
Let's wish all of our partners a happy Valentine's and a thank you. And to all of the partners out there that are now sleeping and you guys and girls are watching this podcast, happy Valentine's to you too.
Yeah, absolutely. I treated my wife to watching Spurs lose, and now I've come in here and done this. So she's had a cracking night, absolutely cracking.
That's how we know we've got a good one, Craig. That's how
there you go. You know I'm not sure I still have Rick. You know, she might have gone. I think I had the front door actually. Gareth, thanks for coming on, mate. And where can people find you on social media?
You can find me at Gareth Hotspurs on Twitter. Usually Tottenham tweets, but honestly, I love my Netflix shows as well, or Sky shows. So if anybody wants any tweets, anybody watching The Last of Us now? The Last of Us?
No, I'm going to wait till it's all on and then we'll binge it, I think. So.
Oh, it's brilliant. Honestly, it's really, really good. It's a good turn off from football. So, no, look, I'm a football coach, so you'll see certain stuff on there that's, unless you're not a football fan, there's no point following me. But look, I have to say, Ricky and Noel, these were fantastic guests. Really enjoyed the chat. Ricky, loved the debate at times. I know you're a massive positivity fan. I love to share the positivity with you as well. But until I see it, I'll not fucking preach it.
Balance is key, bro. Balance is key.
No, I know. But look, one more thing. Before we go, who are you supporting in the Six Nations, boys?
Oh my God.
I don't watch rugby.
Guys, the World Cup, #1 in the world.
Are Tottenham playing in the Six Nations?
We'll want that after. We're going to want that after.
Yeah,
that's who I support, Sunshine. That's who I support.
Rick, I've got the ability now. Chris has given me admin rights. I can mute Gareth, so I can just turn him off. You know? I can do all sorts.
Craig, fantastic job. And one more question before you go. He's going to the AC Milan game at home.
I'm not, unless I can get a Wangler ticket from somewhere. But no, I don't think so.
No.
No,
fuck
that's
it.
this time.
I'm going to the game. It's my first home game of the season, so hopefully we get 3 points.
Well done.
Come on.
Bring us,
Hopefully,
you know.
Well, 3 points is
Bit
no
of
good,
luck.
actually. If they won the tie by 2 goals. So.
Yeah, that'll do, won't it? And Noel, thanks for coming on. Where can people find you on social media?
I'm not on social media, Greg. Don't do it.
Probably good. That's probably good. Well, look.
Simple life, you know.
Yeah, no, it's probably best sometimes. It can be quite a toxic place sometimes, but thankfully, this place is a really lovely place. And so thank you once again to everybody for tuning in. I hope it's been a decent listen. I hope it's been a bit cathartic and you can, a bit of therapy and join us, because we're all Spurs fans and we all feel the pain when we lose and the joy when we win and all that sort of stuff. So look, until the next time, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, because Chris does a fantastic job for Tottenham. Yes. So wherever that button is on your phone or your tablet or whatever it is you're watching on or listening on, subscribe to the channel, because it really helps Chris out. So I'm going to say goodbye. I hope it's been good. I hope I haven't ballsed up too much, and I hope I haven't lost Chris a load of subscribers. So till the next time, come on, you Spurs.
Come on!